Welcome back to Out of the Rough. I'm Fred Arnold. I'm here with Lou Esbin, and Lou is an expert when it comes to certified bankruptcy specialist or bankruptcy. And Lou, I want to talk in this segment about something that a lot of people are experiencing right now when they're in the rough, and that is they're upside down on their home. They maybe can't afford the mortgage they got. Maybe they got a subprime loan or maybe a pay option loan, and they're choking. And there's a couple solutions. One is loan modifications. We're not going to get into that on this show. But then there's a short sale or foreclosure.
Correct.
So let's talk about a short sale.
Short sale, simple. Property sells for less than the amount owing on the first and the second.
Yes, and so they're upside down on their house.
Right.
And they can't sell it for a little gain or break even.
Correct.
So then they go and list it for sale and sell it. And the bank takes less than full value of the loan.
Yeah, it's complicated because it depends upon whether it's an original purchase money loan, if it's a refi.
The original loan that they got.
The original loan they have, or if they refi, took money out, cashed out, now it's a non-recourse, now it's a recourse, non-purchase money loan. I mean, there's a lot of complications that go with it, how much the loan is, there's different federal programs, there's the HAFA program, and so how the loan is treated, how the deficiencies from the sale are treated, how a capital gain is treated, how a cancellation of debt is treated, is a complicated.
All right, so you mentioned a lot of interesting things there. So you're doing a short sale, and you're selling your house. And the one thing I like about short sales is you're telling somebody, look, I sold my home, and there's some pride in that.
Absolutely.
The bank loses a little bit less money, which they sometimes agree to it because of that.
Right.
And it does. In some cases, you're able to get a loan a little bit sooner in the future. But there are a couple things you mentioned: capital gain and a debt forgiveness.
Correct.
Let's talk about capital gain.
Two separate issues, and they're tax issues. Okay, and I'll tell you, I'm not a tax expert. I know the issue.
Well, you know a lot about the issue, so.
You know, somebody buys a home up here in the mid '70s, and they paid what, $65,000 for a house, and now that house is worth $900,000, and that's what they owe against it. Okay?
Because they refinance and refinance and refinance, and they're upside down on it.
Correct. And so now you're looking at, if that house sells for $750,000 and they originally paid, let's say, $100,000, you're looking at a possible $650,000 capital gain.
Wow, and the first $500,000 in some cases is forgivable, if you will, right, of the capital gain, depending if you're married or not.
But I think you and I would agree that in that instance, the first one they go talk to is a tax advisor.
They should, absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I'm going to say to them. I'm going to say, you know, the tail that's wagging the dog here is the tax consequences.
And the huge capital gain.
You need to go talk to your tax advisor. And
that's one thing they refuse, they don't think to do.
They don't think to do that.
Yeah. And then the second thing we talked about was debt forgiveness. Now, the bank is forgiving debt.
Correct.
How does that play into the mix?
Well, it really depends, because if it's a purchase money, it may be treated one way under.
And a purchase money being, for the viewers, the loan was taken out when you bought the house.
Correct.
Okay, versus a refinance.
Versus a refi. So the treatment is different. And under California law, it may be treated differently. And so you have to look at that, because if the lender agrees to a short sale and accepts the terms of the short sale, they may reserve their right to pursue the client for the difference. So there's that continuing liability for the difference. Well,
if they go back and take them to court to get the difference?
That's right.
They
reserve the right to do that. But more importantly for the lender, what they're reserving is their right to issue a 1099 for cancellation of debt, which means that the client may have a tax consequence in that year.
So it's important, again, you speak to a tax professional, because this is serious stuff. There could be a serious forgiveness of debt. When you think about it, you could owe $700,000, the house sells for $5,000, there's $200,000 right there.
In phantom income.
Yeah, phantom income. So short sale is one option to liquidate that property. Unfortunately, there's people that lose their home to foreclosure.
Correct.
What are the capital gain, forgiveness of debt issues? Same issues that you might run into?
You may have some generally the same issues. Foreclosure, let's say the first forecloses.
The first trust deed on the mortgage.
The first trust deed on the house. So under California law, they couldn't pursue for the deficiency. But the second, because most people have seconds.
Home equity line of credit or second.
You know, the ATM that got bolted to the outside of the front door.
Yes.
They have the right to pursue you for those dollars.
And they can go after you for those dollars. Now, do you find that they're doing that? What's the feel? What are we seeing out there?
I think it's too early to tell. But you know, the rumblings out there are that these foreclosed out seconds are being sold for pennies or half pennies on the dollar.
To third parties.
To third parties, and they're going after people.
They're trying to get some money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, one thing that people don't think about when they, and I'm a big advocate of real estate agents. I think they serve their purpose
Absolutely.
of selling a home, and not only do you need to have a realtor, you know, on staff, if you will, you need to also have a consultant, a good consultant like yourself, and somebody also that's a tax professional that understands these issues.
Well, you know, in most states, real estate transactions are closed with lawyers. California is one of the few states that doesn't close with lawyers.
And through escrow and title.
That's right. But you sit in other states, you sit down with an attorney, and he goes through all these things. And you know, in other states, maybe the lawyer gets paid $250 to go over these things with somebody, and so they're aware of what they're getting themselves into, and that way the realtors can close and get paid. The clients are comfortable with their situation, they've been properly advised, and the whole process moves forward.
Yeah, and a lot of times now with escrows, and no knock against escrows, is they're just executing what the paperwork is, and they're not giving legal advice.
Right. And
so that attorney or that expert in as far as the legal side, if it's not there, so it's important to understand it. I want the viewers to have an opportunity to reach you and tell us about your office. You're here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
I've been in the Santa Clarita Valley since 1993.
25 years experience?
25 years of experience. Been president of my bar association, clerk for bankruptcy judges. You know, I've been there, done that. Century City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York. I've practiced in all those places. My office is at 25129 The Old Road, Suite 114, Stevenson's Ranch. It's down there by where In and Out is, La Quinta.
Perfect.
My website is esbinlaw.com.
Spell that?
ESBINLAW.com. It's my last name, law.com, esbinlaw.com. And they should certainly go onto my website. This video cast will be there. There's a lot of really good information, most of which I've written, and I try to provide people as much information as I can. So it's esbinlaw.com is the web address, and there's a contact section so people can send me an email.
To get a hold of you, yeah. And don't forget, he's the debt doctor.
I am the debt doctor.
Yes, AM 1220 KHTS, and that's the cash collateral show.
Cash collateral. It's a bankruptcy term.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Fred. Pleasure.
Yeah, great information. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Out of the Rough. I'm Fred Arnold. If you'd like to view this show online, go to scvtv.com or fredarnold.com, and you can view this show online. If you have a question, send them to me, fred@fredarnold.com. Until our next conversation, make it a healthy and prosperous day, and I hope this information helps get you out of the rough.